Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lady K Chat Podcast. I am your host, Lady K, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about tonight's show, which is called Let God. Now, Let God is for the person who is ready to receive Him and ready to embrace Him. And I know you probably heard the terminology of let go and let God, and you're probably saying, what does that mean, Lady K? Well, tonight I'm going to go into depth on what it means to let go and to let God, and how you can evolve yourself into the next season because you have decided to let God have His way. So tune in right now to hear the message that you need to hear. See you soon.
The following podcast is a Lady K Enterprises production.
Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for all women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationships, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a 2-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Kalima, aka Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show of Let God. And Let God comes from a place of allowing Him to have the control, allowing Him to lead your life, and you as the individual fall back, because we all heard this expression before, let go and let God. But a lot of us don't really know what that means. But today I am actually going to share with you 5 practical ways you can learn how to surrender control and let God handle your life. He does it so much better. I just have to say that. He really do, because I know when I let go and I let God, things just started to fall into place for me. But I do want to say this to you. I want you to think about it like this, why sometimes we all struggle. So first I want to talk about soda, right? Science has proven that the combination of sugar and caffeine make the soda taste and feel so good, right? And this is why sometimes, people get addicted, because of the feeling. It feels good, but we're not realizing some of the ingredients in what feels good to us is addicting. And when we get to that place to addiction, it's like, how do you get that under control? The sweet tastes so good. That sweet tooth is just going. And every time you have that sweet tooth, you just give it the craving and you have your soda, right? So I want to say the same thing is applicable to us not able to let go because we've been doing it for so long our way. It feels good our way because we think our way is always the best way. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you lead yourself into a stray in situations, and then you're like, how do I get here? So let's not get there. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that number 1 on how you can learn to let go and let God lead your direction is stop striving and start abiding. I actually saw a Christian Instagram account the other day that says striving to be a godly woman. No disrespect or judgment, but didn't Jesus come so that we can stop striving? Listen, in Psalms 46:8 says, cease striving and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. So, the first step in learning to let go of control is stop striving. We don't have to strive to make our life turn out of a certain way. We just have to abide by him. And please do not get confused of having this, the energy to strive for greatness. That's not what I'm talking about. You just striving to be this great, amazing person, doing all this extra stuff, putting all this burden on you. And you don't have to do all of that. You can just be yourself. And the question is, do you know yourself? And if you don't know yourself, this is why you should surrender, because he will tell you. He does give you the roadmap. If you hear some of my messages, I always tell you, God gives you the plan. He downloads the plan. You just got to ask him, and you got to pay attention. You got to listen, because he's always telling us. He's always speaking to us. But guess what? If you have no control and the addiction is there, how are you going to hear from him? Because your ego was so loud. Yes, I call it out. Your ego is loud. If you tune it down, you might be able to hear from him. So now, I want to go to step 2, which going hand in hand with what I just said. Confess and surrender your need for control. Confess to him and say, look, you know what, God? I'm going to be honest with you. I like being in control. It makes me feel safe and secure. Listen, everyone, can I be 100 with you? I absolutely like to have things in control. Who doesn't? We want to run stuff. We want to do things accordingly because it's in our hand. But sometimes like I just said before, we end up hurting ourselves. But, at times it makes us feel like we have a purpose. Again, we feel safe and secure. And sometimes we are some control freaks. I know I'm one. I can't even lie to you. However, please believe me, I do bring myself under subjection, and I do go to the Father, because I already know that he's going to take me out of the place that I'm in, and he's going to put me where he desires where he desired me to be. Okay? So I want you to remember, confess it to him. Talk to him just like you talk to anybody. I know sometimes too, well, how can I talk to him? Just start talking. You got a quiet place that you can talk to him at? Talk there and just tell him how you feel, tell him what's on your mind, and tell him to give you the guidance. I just want to share a quick testimony. Back in January, I changed my eating habits. But before I changed my eating habits, I really wanted to get to that place. I really did. And I went on a fast. And while I was on that fast, I was asking God, I said, please, God, I really need you to help me, because I really want to change my eating habit. I know it's for my best. And to be honest, guys, to God be the glory. When I came off that fast, because I started January 1st, and I think I ended January 10th, because it was a 10-day Daniel fast. When I came off, I no longer had the desire for meat. I still don't 8 months later. So I thank God for that. Because I knew I couldn't control myself then. I know I needed him, because I couldn't do it by myself. See, that's the key thing, doing it by yourself. So the next one, which is 3, is be still and just know. Just know when God tells you to move, you move. Just know when he tells you to sit, just sit. And let me tell you something. You know how I just said be still? He is still. When you hear a lot of noise and a lot of things going on in your head, that's not him. Honestly, that's you out of control because you don't know how to bring your thoughts to subjection. So you're just everywhere. But when you are quiet, when you tune the noise down, it makes sense and you can hear loud and clear. And that's what you want. I think it was in Exodus 14, and I believe it was 13 through 14. And Moses told the people, do not be afraid. Stand still. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still. And you know what God did? He rescued them. He controlled the whole time, even when the enemy was on his way, ready to take the Israelites down. He can do the same thing for us. We trust in him and we rest with him. I want to go back and just kind of stress the fact when the Israelites were running and they was going across the Red Sea, like I just said, he he's able to control the time. He allowed them to take their time to cross over, right? But then when Pharaoh and his crew came, what happened? Released the waters. And that time was immediately. And that's how God works. So we have to know to be still and to know. The next one, number 4, is trust, and trust. Okay? Trusting in God is a lifelong process. Like many aspects to our Christian faith, it is a choice that we make every single day. We have to learn to let go of trying to figure out the whys in life. Don't do that. You will drive yourself crazy. You just have to stop doing that and just trust in Him. Trust that God understands more than we ever could. Sometimes we're not going to figure it out. Sometimes it's not even in our gist to figure it out. You have to say, you know what? That happened. Okay. You don't necessarily have to say, I don't recognize it, but you can deal with the situation and just leave it there. A lot of people keep going back and revisiting. We do it to ourselves. It's just the guilt in us, all our emotion. We are human. We're creatures of this world, and it's amazing. However, we do the most to ourselves. But when you feel you are there, here's my last one. And this is the greatest one. Number 5 is that you seek God. God holds the whole world in His hand. But we will never fully guess the power and the extent of those hands. If we are not tuned in and focused with Him, when we surrender control, wait, and trust in God's plan, we will know that He will be faithful to lead us where He wants us to go. Jeremiah 29:13 says, you will find me when you search for me with all your heart. Seek God and He will direct your steps. So, just to reiterate, how do we surrender and give it to God? Like I said, 1, stop striving and start abiding. Number 2, confess and surrender your needs for control. Number 3, be still and know. Number 4, trust. And number 5, seek God. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening today. I appreciate you. I hope you was able to take something away with this message. I hope it resonated in your spirit. Until then, I will see you next time. Continue to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Lady K Chat Podcast. And you can visit us at www.ladykkenterprisesinc.com. Have a great night, everyone.
Lady K.